Hey everyone, welcome to AWS On Air. This is a segment we call What's Next, where we talk about some amazing launches that just happened in the keynotes during the event. My name is Sohan Maheshwar, and I'm a developer advocate with AWS based out of Amsterdam in the Netherlands. So today we're going to be talking to Shu He, who's from the AWS Marketplace team. Shu, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what's going on?
Hey everyone, my name is Shu. I'm a product manager here with the AWS Marketplace team, and we're here to talk about a recent launch that we launched in partnership with the AWS Marketplace and AWS License Manager teams.
All right. So for folks joining in on Twitch, please send us comments. We'll try and take questions. If you're watching us on the reInvent platform, you can tweet to us at hashtag AWS on air, which is hashtag AWS on air, and we'll try and take as many questions. All right, Shu, for our viewers, why don't you tell us a bit about what AWS Marketplace is?
Yeah, absolutely. So AWS Marketplace is a curated digital catalog that makes it easy for AWS customers to find, buy, and deploy third-party software, data, and professional services products. And these products are available for customers to build their solutions and help run their businesses. Our AWS Marketplace has a exhaustive catalog with over 1,600 ISVs. They collectively list over 8,000 different products, and those products span across 50 or so different categories. So we have, a large variety of software products and data products and newly launched professional services products to choose from. And as an AWS customer, you have access to the marketplace and can start browsing our catalog today.
Nice. All right. So, Shu, there was a huge launch in Doug's keynote a few days ago. Care to tell us a bit about that, perhaps, to set the
Yeah,
stage?
absolutely. So we launched what's called Managed Entitlements in Doug's keynote on December 3rd last week. This particular launch is actually a partnership launch between the AWS Marketplace team and the AWS License Manager team. I'm pulling up a slide quickly here to show everyone kind of some of the key elements of this launch. So managed entitlements is the ability to help automate third-party software license distribution and simplify entitlement tracking. There's a couple different benefits that this launch helps our customers solve, and there's actually two facets that we'll talk through with Sohan today. Primarily here, we'll dive into first the AWS Marketplace support for software subscriptions and entitlement distribution through AWS License Manager. And this enables our AWS customers and buyers to automate and accelerate software license distribution. And then on the other side, managed entitlements actually helps our independent software vendors who can create and manage license entitlements for use both on AWS and on premises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's awesome, Shu. So, Shu, assuming I'm a customer, right? So, can you give me a key use case it would solve for me? Like, how would
Yeah,
it work?
definitely. So as a customer, you're coming through AWS Marketplace. You have some subscriptions already available, or you are kind of newly coming into Marketplace. As a customer of Marketplace, you can come into our catalog, subscribe to a Amazon Machine Image or Containers product or machine learning product. Each of these products, that subscription is actually going to create a license within the AWS License Manager. And that license is what gives you kind of the right to use or the right to access and run that software. Now, there were kind of two pain points that we were looking to solve with this particular launch in partnership with the license manager team. The first pain point was that as we were working with a lot of enterprise customers, our enterprise customers were telling us that, hey, we want a way to be able to centralize the management of these licenses and also be able to accept and agree to the terms once in a centralized way. So our procurement teams within our entitlement, within our enterprise customers said, we would really like a way for us to centralize this purchase. Can we do that through Marketplace? And can we then subsequently govern and manage who has access to that license? So today on Marketplace, we are able to, before this launch, we were able to say, hey, you can come use your account to subscribe to a product. And that account and that subscription sort of has a one-to-one relationship between that subscription and then the license that comes out of it. Now, with the launch that we've announced last week with managed entitlements, we can now say, hey, you can subscribe to this product once, but actually then go ahead and distribute the entitlements to other members of your AWS organization. So accounts within your AWS organization don't have to come in and subscribe to that product again, which is a brand new functionality. Instead, you can enable, as an administrator, you can enable the access to their account by granting them an entitlement through AWS License Manager. And this really helps us kind of give the controls and the governance to a centralized procurement or license management organization within the enterprise customer realm. So that's one pain point that this particular launch solves. There's a second element that has, that is benefited for our enterprise customers as well. And that is the fact that as our customers are growing and scaling with AWS and AWS Marketplace, they were coming to Marketplace, subscribing through each individual account, often to the same set of products over and over again. They were finding a lot of success with particular products, whether it's an operating system, a network security firewall, and they wanted to be able to run that product through each individual account. So in order to do that before this launch, they had to log into every account and then manually subscribe to each of those products. And that became a little bit difficult to scale as we think about our larger customers who have tens or maybe even hundreds of accounts. And so with the managed entitlement launch, we're introducing a set of APIs within the entitlement distribution feature set so that customers can actually automate their ability to distribute these grants out to the member accounts within their AWS organization. And this gives them a very easy and flexible way to be able to enable access to third-party products through Marketplace via APIs that are now available.
All right. So correct me if I'm wrong, Shu, that was from like a buyer sort of use case, correct?
That's right.
Yes. So what are some of the benefits for these managed entitlements for, say, an AWS Marketplace customer?
Yeah. So some of the benefits include the ability to be able to newly distribute the entitlements, right? So as I was mentioning a little bit before, in the past, you had a one-to-one relationship. So in fact, when you subscribed to a product in Marketplace, that was your own and it was your right to use it. Now we've been able to create this one-to-many relationship between the subscription and the ability to use that product, which gives customers a lot more flexibility in saying, hey, I'm going to share from account A to accounts B and C, and this is going to be the group of accounts that are able to use this particular software. Or they can say, hey, I might want to share this to a few more accounts later in time. And so they can actively manage and control and govern that distribution process. And this particular activity can be centralized within a customer's administrative account or even management account within their AWS organization. So the second benefit here is the APIs, like I mentioned. So these APIs are really important because it really takes away from the manual effort that takes place today when customers have to go through each individual account and be able to kind of manually subscribe to each product. So with the APIs, they can automate around their internal workflows. They can automate these APIs and configure them against the AWS Service Catalog, as well as the AWS Control Tower, as well as they're provisioning new accounts and giving access to different software to the end users within their organization.
Sweet, exciting. So again, for those of you who are just joining in, folks, if you have any questions about this product launch, feel free to hit us up on the chat if you're watching on Twitch. If you're watching us in the reInvent platform, tweet to us at #AWSOnAir, which is #AWSOnAir. Now, Shu, I know you have a demo prepared for us, just so that our viewers, I think, will understand the flow of how it works. So, let's load that up.
Alrighty, let's grab that.
And while Shu does that, it's a little late in the night for me here in Amsterdam. Alex Masha says, well explained, thanks, Shu. Well, thanks for watching, Alex. And thanks everyone else for watching. There we go. Over to you, Shu.
All right, great. Let's go ahead and launch this demo video. All right, if everyone can see, so on the left-hand side, I've got two split screens within the demo here. On the left-hand side, I'm modeling the administrator or the grantor account. And on the right-hand side, I'm modeling the end user or the grantee account. On the left, you'll see that I'm actually in the AWS Marketplace website. So through the website, I'm going to show you guys how this process works end to end. I'm going to actually go ahead and find a subscription that I'm going to subscribe to here. So I'm looking for an Amazon machine image, and this one looks good. It's called Ghost, certified by Bitnami. As I click into this listing, you'll see that it pulls up the product details and overview, and it shows you some of the pricing and usage information as well. I think everything looks good here, so I'm going to continue to subscribe. At the subscription page, this is where the terms and conditions and the end user license agreement sits. And this is what everyone would have to agree to before we launch this product. In fact, now within the administrative account, I'm going to go ahead and agree to that terms and conditions once, and then see that we have successfully created a subscription here for this product. Now, I'm going to go into my AWS Marketplace Console, and we'll show you what this looks like on the Managed Subscriptions console within AWS Marketplace. So as you can see, I've got a list of different products that are currently in my account, and the product that we just subscribed to, Ghost Certified by Bitnami, is available as well. With this launch, you'll see that we have some banner messages that come up as well, and it's just telling our existing AWS Marketplace customers that they can now view licenses that are corresponding to their AWS Marketplace subscriptions. Clicking into the subscription itself, you'll see a similar banner message, and you'll even see that within the summary of that subscription, there's a link out to the license that the subscription generates. And last but not least, you'll see on the right-hand side, what's called access level. So this is going to show you that this particular account actually agreed to the terms, and therefore the access level is going to be at the agreement level. From here, I can launch a new instance and go ahead and configure this AMI and kind of get started up and running. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm actually just going to go ahead and copy that AMI ID. So what we've done so far is that this administrative account has subscribed to the product. And as a result, the account has a subscription, and it also has a license for that product, and it can launch that particular Amazon machine image. On the right-hand side, I'm an end user. So as an end user, I don't yet have access to this product, and you can see within the AWS Marketplace console of that end user, we're not seeing this Ghost Certified by Bitnami product yet. In fact, if I navigate into the EC2 console, and I go into the AMI section, and I'm going to actually go ahead and copy and paste that AMI ID that came out of the instance that we just subscribed to. So this is a public AMI. So we've located that AMI ID, and I can, as an end user, try to go ahead and launch this Amazon machine image without a subscription to it from AWS Marketplace. So what's going to happen is when I review and launch this with some of the settings here, it's going to try to initialize, and it actually tells me that the launch has failed. And this is because my end user account doesn't have access to this software. It hasn't yet subscribed. It hasn't yet been entitled access to this particular software product. So how do we rectify that? What we're going to do is we're actually going to use our administrative account, and we're going to go ahead and grant access to this end user. So going back to the left-hand side, as we know, we've got this Ghost Certified by Bitnami product, and it's showing up in our managed subscriptions within our AWS Marketplace console. We're going to navigate directly into our AWS License Manager console and go into the Granted Licenses section. So with our launch of Managed Entitlements, this page is brand new. It's going to show you a list of all the licenses that you have subscribed to through Marketplace, as well as some of the corresponding fields that can help you identify each of those independent licenses. It looks like we found Ghost Certified by Bitnami as a license, and we're going to go ahead and click into the details of that license. So in terms of license details, you'll see a couple different containers. At the very top, the details of that license. Then you'll see what's called a grants container, as well as an entitlements container, license consumption configuration, and lastly, at the bottom, the dates that the license is valid for. So what we're going to do here is we're going to enable this new functionality by granting a entitlement to my end user. So let's go ahead and click on Create Grant. This allows you to populate a grant name and then go ahead and enter in an AWS account ID for the user that you want access to enable access to the subscription. So I'm going to type in that account ID, and this account ID is going to be for the end user on the right-hand side of my screen. Once I've created that grant, I get a success message saying that the grant has successfully been created. And you'll see that I actually get a line item here within the grants container that shows you that this grant has been created. And you'll see that in the status section, it says that the grant is pending acceptance. So let's go ahead and go into our AWS License Manager console on the end user side. So for the end user, they're going to navigate to the granted licenses again. And here they're going to see that they similarly have a list of licenses that account has access to. And here with the Ghost license, you'll see that the status mirrors as pending acceptance. So once we click into this license that was just granted, we'll see very similar containers that document the details of the license itself. And at the very top, you'll see 3 different buttons that allow you to reject, accept and activate licenses. So to expedite this process, we're going to accept and activate so that this particular account can kind of start launching the instance and running the workloads that they need to. So once I've clicked on that accept and activate, we're going to go ahead and wait for this grant to be active. And we'll see that the status of the grant goes from processing and will change into active once it's ready. So the grant status now shows active for the end user, which means the user now has the ability to start running the instance that they just received access to. On the left-hand side for the grantor, you'll see that the status there will update to mirror what was shown on the right-hand side as well. And here, as we navigate into the AWS Marketplace Console, we'll see that the subscription now exists. And the access level here is at the entitlement level. So this just indicates that this account now has access to the subscription as a result of an entitlement that was provided to them. Now here from the AWS Marketplace Console, you can go ahead and launch, but for the sake of continuity, let's go back into the EC2 console and just take a look at that Amazon machine image that we tried to launch before. So let's go ahead and find that Amazon machine image again, and we'll go ahead and click the launch button one more time. Now, in this case, I would expect for this launch to be able to successfully go through because now my second account, my end user account, has been enabled access to this software. Let's take a look at what happens. Great, so it looks like we have a green success message. And that success message is telling us that the instances are now launching. And when I go into view instances, I'll see that within the EC2 console, that instance is pending and is ready to be launched very shortly. And that concludes this demo. And as a conclusion and as a summary, what happened here is we showed kind of an end-to-end workflow for an AWS Marketplace customer to have subscribed to an Amazon machine image one time. And then subsequently, that customer, as an administrator of the license, was able to then give access to a second account so that that particular account is now able to get up and running with that piece of software. And with this demo, where we showed the console UI of this feature, but of course, all of these actions are available within APIs as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that demo, Shu. So, Shu, I was thinking about this, and interestingly enough, before I joined Amazon, and this was more than 3 years ago, I worked in a startup, and we were trying to get our platform onto Marketplace. So, I'm similarly wondering for companies like, say, an ISV, an independent software vendor, can they be on Marketplace? Are they allowed to be on Marketplace? And is there a use case when it comes to something like this for an ISV?
Yeah, absolutely. So today, AWS Marketplace has a number of ISVs who are listing their third-party software products and are available for our AWS customers to consume and to subscribe to. For managed entitlements as well, there is a component of this feature that is launching towards our ISV partners as well. And this particular component is around the ability to help ISVs manage their entitlements as they are looking to help to monetize their products and be able to keep track of the products that they have and to enable their customers, their end users, to be able to consume from those licenses. So from the ISV partner perspective, managed entitlements gives ISVs the ability to actually model licenses very flexibly. So for example, we have ISVs who might be running vCPUs or who might be having storage products or data transfer products. So they can model each license and create these licenses within the managed entitlements license manager to be able to say, hey, this particular license, is for 50 gigabytes of storage or 10 users or even, 100 servers or vCPUs. And they can model that flexibly. They can use the entitlement manager to effectively assign those licenses to their customers. And those customers can be customers with accounts on AWS or customers with accounts on premises. And for on-premise licenses, they can use a token-based approach to give those end users access to the software itself. And so this is something we're very proud of, to be able to give access to ISVs as well as give them the ability to have a new way to help manage the entitlements that they're creating for their software licenses.
Nice, thanks, Shu. So viewers, I'm sure you're either in an ISV or like a startup, and maybe you want the services on AWS Marketplace. Shu, in any way our viewers can close this loop? Maybe they can go read something or sign up somewhere. What can someone do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one more time. I've got a couple different slides that I'll show, and then I'll talk a little bit about what you can do next. Okay. All right. So from an AWS customer side, we actually had the opportunity to beta this feature set with a couple different launch partners, Ally Financial, CloudShare, Liberty Mutual, NN Group, and Pearson. And the customers were really able to provide some very valuable feedback for our launch, such that we were able to take that feedback and be able to make our product better ahead of launch. Similarly, on the vendor partner side, we have 3 vendors who are launch partners who are working with the managed entitlements APIs in creating licenses for their software: Burst, N2WS, and Crosscode. And these launch partners were ones who were able to help us, launch this particular feature and provide valuable feedback as well. In terms of next steps, there's a couple different things that you can take a look at. As an AWS Marketplace customer or buyer, you can come to AWS Marketplace, take a look at the products there for your AWS Marketplace, Amazon Machine Image, containers, and machine learning products. You can go ahead and actually try granting entitlements through the AWS License Manager console within the granted licenses section. We have a set of blog posts that came out with launch last week, as well as documentation available within the AWS Marketplace and AWS License Manager documentation websites as well. As an ISV, you can go ahead and take a look at some of the documentation that we have available as well. That documentation will be listed under seller issued licenses. And seller issued licenses is also a new section within the AWS License Manager console that our vendor partners can take a look at as well. One last thing I wanted to mention is that the managed entitlements feature for ISV partners is free of charge. So ISVs can take a look at it, play around with the APIs, and get started as soon as you want.
Awesome. All right, Shu. And yeah, lastly, any CTS. So what can our viewers do to, maybe read more about this or sign up for this, or if there's a seller watching, what can they do?
Right. Yep. So we have documentation that's been published both for the AWS Marketplace customers as well as for the AWS License Manager sellers. And those are available within the documentation websites that are live today. We have a session for AWS Marketplace customers that you can play within the reInvent portal. It's called Who Gets What? Manage software licenses for AWS Marketplace customers. And you can go ahead and view that session to get more details as an AWS Marketplace customer. As a customer and as a vendor partner, you can actually navigate directly to the AWS License Manager console and visit the granted licenses or the seller issued licenses pages, respectively. And those pages will help get you started with either granting licenses or creating licenses for consumption.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Shu, for that. And viewers, hope you enjoyed that session by Shu about this exciting new feature. Well, we're going to say goodbye to Shu for now. Thanks, Shu. See you. And we're going to bring in Murtaza Chowdhury, who actually is the principal product manager in AWS, and he's going to talk a bit about AWS License Manager. Before that, Murtaza, we have a couple of questions in the chat. And Alex, Masha, we will get to your question in a bit because Murtaza is the expert. But Murtaza, how's it going? Maybe introduce yourself as well.
Hey, Sohan, doing great. Hey, thanks for having me here. My name is Murtaza, and I'm a product manager in the Amazon EC2 team. I lead products such as AWS License Manager, EC2 Dedicated Host, and dedicated instances.
Awesome. Well, great to have you here, Murtaza. So, all right. So, Murtaza, tell us about the launch that you're talking about, and maybe we'll start off with something a little basic, which is what really is AWS License Manager?
Sure, Sohan. License Manager, you can think of it as a one-stop solution for managing licenses from a variety of software vendors. It has a variety of capabilities, like if you're bringing your existing licenses to AWS, you can manage how your licenses are used. You can track licensing compliance. You can control overages. You can report out usage to vendors to for license renewals or purchasing more. And you heard Shu earlier. It also has a host of other capabilities like for marketplace buyers, or if you're an ISV, you can use License Manager as well. It integrates deeply with the EC2 control plane. So you have the ability to set up rules in License Manager such that when an EC2 instance is coming up, it checks the rules, and it has the ability to block a non-compliant launch from happening. And it's catered to a license administrator. So a license administrator who is responsible for managing compliance in an organization, a central IT team, or it could be part of a purchasing or organization. They can use License Manager to manage licenses across the organization, while users can go ahead with business as usual without worrying about licenses or software as in what's the source of it.
Yeah. So on that note, Murtaza, we'll take a slight detour because Alex Masha, who I think we have interacted before on chat, Alex, on our Twitch streams, has asked a question, which is, if I have an app that has a license tied to a MAC address, how can we work around that without changing anything on the customer's side code? Is this something that's possible?
Yeah, well, it depends on the software, but you can use License Manager for a variety of needs, and it offers you great flexibility. If your need is to make sure that the license remains tied to a particular hardware, there is a property in License Manager where you can define how many days it should remain assigned to a particular hardware. But for that, you will need to use EC2 dedicated hosts in conjunction with AWS License Manager.
Sweet. Alex Masha, if that answered your question, great. If it doesn't, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn. We can definitely follow this conversation. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that you maybe don't want to tell in a chat. So, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn. We can take that conversation offline. All right. So back to license management, Murtaza. So I was watching Doug Hume's keynote, and he mentioned like a lot of new features about license manager. So care to take us through that, perhaps?
Sure. I have a slide, so let me go ahead and share that, and I can take you from there.
Yeah, for sure. And Alex, yeah, I see some of your comments. Yeah, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn. We'll take that conversation forward. You should be able to find me.
All right. So, as we said earlier, for people who are new to License Manager, it's a one-stop solution for managing licenses from a variety of software vendors. It helps you manage licenses across your hybrid environments. You could have licenses on EC2, on-premises environment, on RDS, on AWS Marketplace. You can manage them centrally together on License Manager. And besides having the ability to proactively track compliant based on your licensing rules, it also has automated discovery and host management capabilities if your licenses require EC2 dedicated host. In terms of pricing, there are no additional charges for using License Manager. Now, coming to what we announced recently, one you heard from Shu already about managed entitlements. Besides that, we also announced automated software discovery. Then we have the enforcement with shared AMIs, and earlier we launched Oracle database licenses tracking with Amazon RDS on License Manager. So when you think of licensing on AWS, yeah, you have a lot of flexibility. You can buy licenses from AWS through the license included offering, or you can bring your existing licenses to AWS to leverage your licensing investments. You can have different tenancy options, and you can choose based on what your licensing needs are. You have shared tenancy, you have dedicated tenancy options, and you can manage licenses across a variety of AWS services and on-prem environments. I can go through each of them one by one. Let me start with automated software discovery. So this is a capability we had launched earlier. What we announced this year was enhancements to the automated software discovery with tag-based search and detection of software uninstalls. If your software permits you to return the licenses when it is no longer installed, now License Manager has the ability to detect the uninstall and report the usage, and the dashboards that License Manager has gets refreshed automatically. And if you have defined custom tags for your environments, you can leverage those tags for discovering your software. Take, for example, instances which are running dev test workloads. Now, if your license agreement allows you to not pay for software which is running dev test, then you can use tag-based search to distinguish between what is a production workload and what is a dev test workload. Uh, coming back to the next one, which is enforcement. Earlier, License Manager allowed you to enforce license tracking by attaching the rules to the AMIs. You could earlier do it on the AMIs that you owned. Now you have the ability to do it on shared AMIs as well. And for AMIs that you own, you can set up enforcement across all your accounts. You heard earlier that customers, you typically may have hundreds of accounts sometimes if you're scaling out. In that case, you can manage all of them centrally through one management account.
And Murtaza, at this point, tell me, like, if you're managing an account and looking at all of this, and you're seeing these dashboards, what are some of the metrics that you're really looking at, as like an admin person, perhaps?
Yeah, certainly. So you could be looking at how many licenses are allocated versus how many you have consumed. You could be looking at where those licenses are used. You can drill in to see which are the environments which are using those licenses. And if there are any violations detected by License Manager, you will be alerted through the automated notification mechanism. So License Manager is integrated with the simple notification service where you can define your SNS topic and it delivers notification there. And you can configure how you want to receive the alerts, whether via text message, email, or if you want to integrate with any other application.
Nice. Okay, got it, got it. All right, you were saying about some of the benefits of this automated software discovery and how it's really changing things.
Yeah, certainly. So License Manager helps track software both at the time of launch by enforcing and also software that gets installed on environment later. Take, for example, a large enterprise where software could be installed by user at any time and they could be uninstalled. So automated software discovery helps the central administrator to stay informed of all the software installs and uninstallations through License Manager's automated software discovery mechanism. and they can configure it by the way they want to track it, like which software they want to track, which are the components of the software they are interested in, what licensing rules they should adhere to, and how many licenses are allowed, for example. And if there are any licensing constraints that they want to specify, they can do that as well.
Okay, okay. And what about any other benefits for an administrator, perhaps? For easy discovery, etc.
Yeah, the primary benefit is visibility and optimizing the licensing cost. So an administrator wants to see that how the licenses are utilized best across the organization, and where if there is any violation, the administrator needs to stay informed. So automated software discovery helps with all of that. In addition to the central governance capability that the administrator has with License Manager.
Sweet. All right. So I think enough of talking. Let's maybe see a demo. I know our viewers love watching code and console usage. So yeah, let's fire up that demo, Murtaza.
Sure.
Right, Murtaza is going to fire up a quick demo. Again, folks, if you have any questions, feel free. If you're watching us on Twitch, hit us up in the comments. If you're watching us in the reInvent platform, tweet to us at hashtag AWS on air. Again, it's AWS on air, and we'll try and take as many questions as we get. All right, Murtaza, the floor is yours. Over to you.
Yeah. So you have seen some of it earlier when Shu was showing you the granted licenses and the seller issued licenses. The other capabilities that License Manager has are the dashboard, where you can centrally view all the license allocations. Then you have customer managed licenses. You have search inventory. You have host resource group capability, which helps you manage EC2 dedicated host, and then you have the central settings configuration. So let's look at what you have in the settings section. So this is one place where you can come and configure all your AWS accounts. It's integrated with AWS organizations. With a simple click, you can tie all your organizational accounts here, and you can also enable cross-account inventory search. How cross-account inventory search works is that it's integrated with AWS Systems Manager. Through this one click, you can pull in data about what's installed in your environments into License Manager. All the data is stored inside an S3 bucket in your management account, and the data is surfaced up from there. And this works for both on-premises and EC2 environments. And here is the integration with a simple notification service through which you can receive alerts. You can create an SNS topic ARN and you can specify it here. Once you do that, anytime License Manager has an alert for the administrator, like either there is license consumption more than what it was supposed to be, or if there is a violation, there'll be alert that will be sent to the notification topic. Now let's look at how to create a customer managed license. So I'm going to hit create customer managed license. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to take the example of a SQL Server license. So you can give it a name first. I'm going to call it SQL Server license. You can provide a description, and then you can specify the license type. So this would be coming from your license agreement that you have signed with your software vendor. License Manager supports 4 license types for bring your own license. They are virtual CPUs, physical cores, physical sockets, and number of instances. And I'm going to select vCPU for this demo. Next, you can provide the number of licenses you're bringing in. It's an optional field. If you simply want to track, you can leave it blank. And here is how you specify automated discovery rules. You can specify product information. We have quick starts for you with SQL Server, Windows Server, Oracle database. but you can track any product that you see installed on your environment through the search inventory option. So earlier this year, we enabled Oracle database tracking on License Manager. So you can select Oracle database and you can track different Oracle database engines, options, and packs. And it's integrated with the Amazon Relational Database Service product. So as a license administrator, you simply create the product information, specify Oracle database, and once you submit it, anytime a database administrator brings up an Oracle instance on RDS, License Manager will keep the dashboards updated, and if there is any violation, would notify you through the alerting mechanism. Coming back to this demo, I'm going to switch this over to SQL Server. So you can select the product name, you can specify the version that you want to detect, and as you can see, it supports both EC2 and on-premises environments. In terms of the limits, you can define the limit as a hard or soft limit. You can enforce the limit if you do not want the license allocation to go over the specified number of licenses. And if there are any additional rules, like any licensing constraints on minimum vCPUs, maximum vCPUs, tenancy, or vCPU optimization, you can specify it here along with the value. So this is where you would select license affinity if you want to tie your licenses to MAC addresses that is available for the license type of physical cores and sockets. So when you select the license type as cores or sockets, you will be able to select license affinity here. So I'm going to submit this license configuration, but before that, look at this new setting. This is the stop tracking instances when software is uninstalled. This tells License Manager that your licensing rules permit you to return the licenses to the pool when it detects that the software is uninstalled. This is an addition to automated software discovery. You can turn it on if your licensing rules permit you to do so. So now I have submitted the customer managed license, the licensing rules are created. Now I can enforce them. There are different mechanisms that you can use to enforce. You can associate with the AMI, or you can associate with service catalog, EC2 launch templates, and you can even use the SDK and API to associate directly. So I'm going to now associate AMI with the licensing rules that I created. So when I say associate AMI, it pulls up the AMIs that I have access to. It shows up the list of AMIs, including the AMIs this account owns, and also the AMIs that are shared with this account. So I select the AMI for SQL Windows and SQL Server, since this is a set of rules for SQL Server, and I hit associate. And again, this is a new capability which allows you to set up license tracking enforcement across all your accounts. And you have two modes here. You can associate across all your accounts, or you can associate with only this account if you're using the software only in one account. Now this is a management account linked to AWS organizations. So I am going to choose the first option, that is associate across all accounts. So what this means is anytime an instance is being launched by a user in any of the AWS accounts, License Manager will evaluate the licensing rules, and only if the licensing rules are conforming to the instance launch, then it will permit it and it will update the dashboard. So you can see the association type as cross account, which shows the selection we made earlier. Now I'm going to show you the search inventory option. You can go to search inventory and discover what's across all your accounts and across your hybrid environment. This is an experience that helps you discover software across EC2 and on-premises environments. You have different filters to choose from. You can search by resource ID, account ID, platform name, application name. You can choose by license included names also. If you are mixing between license included, you have the operating system as license included, and you are bringing your own license on top of it for applications, you can choose that as a filter as well. So I'm going to choose tags, which is a new capability which came up with automated software discovery launch. So in this case, imagine you want to uh, deselect the environments which are running dev test environments. So you could say tag not equals to, you can say the key as environment if you have defined it that way, and you can provide the value as dev test. So this is a tag that I had created earlier. It would filter out all the environments that are not dev test so that I can attach the non-dev test environment to the license configuration and have the licensing rules validated against them. So I'm going to attach this to SQL Server licenses that I created earlier. And this next setting allows me to share licenses across the licensing rules with other accounts. So License Manager also has integration with another service called AWS Resource Access Manager, which allows you to create the licensing rules once and share them with other accounts. So since this is a management account with a single button click, you can share the licensing rules with all member accounts in an AWS organization. So I hit associate. So now once this is associated, the instance is linked with the licensing rule and it's tracked through its lifetime. So till the time the instance is running, the licenses remain tracked. And when the instance is stopped or terminated, the licenses will go back to the pool. And even if the software gets uninstalled, License Manager has the ability to detect since you selected that setting, and the license will be available for reuse. So the central dashboard provides you a view of all the licenses that you have across your environments. You can see the products that you have enabled here, the number of licenses allocated, number of licenses used, and this view is across all your accounts and across EC2 and on-premises environment. For each of these tiles, you can drill in and also see which are the environments that are using these licenses. And if there are any alerts that you need to attend to, besides receiving them through SNS, you can also manage them here. You can see them if you need to take action on any of them. Like there is one license which has gone over usage. Uh, that is one for which you have not enforced the limit. So when you have the ability to not enforce limit and get notified when the license usage goes over what's allocated, and you can take action on that. Either you go and purchase additional licenses, or you can stop the instance that is using that additional set of licenses.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Murtaza. I think the one thing that stood out, and for viewers, this is always a good tip. People, I do a lot of these streams, and people ask me, "Hey, what are some tips?" Tagging. So I'm so glad you did that, Murtaza. So viewers, if it doesn't have to be marketplace, but generally, if you're deploying workloads, S3, EC2, whatever, make sure you tag all of them. It's super useful later when you want to, see where costs are coming from, where whatever. So thanks for that tip, Murtaza. Anyway. People on Twitch or on Reinvent, feel free to hit us up on questions. We have a few more minutes. Murtaza, do you want to share how our customers have been using
Certainly.
License Manager so
So
far?
let me bring back my slides.
Mm-hmm. For those watching on Reinvent, it's hashtag AWS on air. Hit us up with your question. We have like a couple of minutes to go. Take it away, Murtaza.
So as we said earlier, the license manager capabilities of customer managed licenses, they are catered towards the license administrator who is trying to track licenses across the organization. The administrator is responsible for reporting out usage, for tracking compliance of software licenses with the agreements they have with software vendors. So here are some of the testimonials from customers. In general, customers have been using License Manager to make their licensing true ups, their renewals, their tracking, and the reporting easier. First one is an example from Zero, who is a leader in business software. So they have been using License Manager to track their SQL Server licenses, and they're using the real-time deployments, the real-time usage tracking to manage licensing budget. The second quote is from Pearson, who is a leader in the education sector. They have significantly reduced the time and effort in managing licenses, and they have been able to take advantage of the ability to create custom rules, maintain compliance, and keep an eye on the spend. The third testimonial you see here is from ArcBlock, who provides distributed software, decentralized software, and they have been using the real-time license tracking mechanism to keep the licensing budget under control. So if you are a license administrator, take advantage of License Manager. It has a variety of capabilities. It's not tied to any software vendor or product. It helps you track licenses based on licensing rules, and it's highly flexible. You can set up licensing rules based on the license agreement that you have with software vendor, and you can have all the options. Either you use the enforcement mechanism by attaching licensing rules to the AMIs, EC2 launch template, service catalog, or you can use the automated software discovery capability, which helps you stay informed of any software installation and uninstallation that users perform on an instance that may already be running.
Awesome. And Murtaza, we have so many viewers watching right now. If they want to get started with License Manager, maybe they are an IT admin or they work in the space, what can one do to get started?
So the License Manager capabilities are available through the AWS Console, API, and CLI. As you saw in the demo, you can start using License Manager right away. It's available under the Management and Governance section in the AWS Console. There are no additional charges for using License Manager. It's as simple as setting up the customer managed licenses or using the managed entitlements and taking it for a spin.
Awesome. So yeah, folks, just fire up your AWS console and get started. Well, that is the end of the segment. We don't have any questions, so we can actually conclude right now. Murtaza, thank you so much for telling us about License Manager and all its new features. That was great. And for folks viewing, again, thank you so much for viewing, and hope you enjoy the rest of reInvent. See you soon. Good night, good afternoon, good morning, whatever. Bye.